What is going on, traders? We got a few things to discuss, but before we get into that, like, subscribe, comment your thoughts below. Let's get into the video. So, what do we know about Mondays? If you've been following my channel for a while, then you know the answer to this question already. Mondays usually mirror Fridays. What does that mean? That means when Fridays are bullish, majority of the time, that means Monday is going to be bullish. If Fridays are bearish, majority of the time, Mondays are going to be bearish. And what did we see Friday? Well, we saw a sell-off. We got some upside at open, and then we started to see a sell-off towards the end of the day. So I'm expecting the same thing tomorrow. Now, do I think we're going to crash and absolutely plummet? No. Usually Mondays have very low volume, so I'm not expecting anything too crazy. But it is important to note that Tuesday we got a lot of news coming in. We got core PPI, we got PPI at 8:30 Eastern, and then we have Chairman Powell speaking at 10 a.m. Eastern on Tuesday. And we'll get into my thoughts as far as the Chairman Powell situation as well, or what I think the market is going to do towards that situation. But if we're looking at the NASDAQ, so Friday, we pretty much hit 18,350, and then we saw somewhat of a sell off, right? If, okay, your key levels here, if you just so happen to break below this right here, okay, this trend right here, mark this on your charts, all right? And to show you guys just how significant this is, we rejected here, and then we bounced off of it and rejected as well. So that just shows that this is a pretty significant trend. We break back in here below this trend, I personally would not look to trade. Honestly, I wouldn't look to trade tomorrow at all. All right. If we break back in here, then chances are we're just going to consolidate, and it's probably going to be a very boring Monday, which is usually not normal for Mondays because Mondays usually have the least amount of volume throughout the week. But if we just so happen to break back in here, don't be surprised if it's a boring Monday. Another thing to keep in mind, okay, that could counteract the whole bearish thesis on Monday as far as mirroring Friday is that what do I tell you guys all the time? Usually when we get things like CPI or PPI data or even Chairman Powell speaking, the market has a habit of running up until that day. And again, we have that news on Tuesday. So it is possible, okay, it is possible that we do see maybe some type of run up. Maybe we form a double top here. There's a lot of maybes here, but me personally, again, do what you want with this information. I don't think it would be safe to trade tomorrow. If anything, it'll probably just be a boring day tomorrow. So I think I pretty much stressed that enough. As far as your key levels here, if you do just so happen to break below this trend, then you're looking at 18,070. We discussed this in our last video on how important this level is. If you don't believe me, then let's look back. Let's look at what happened at this level multiple times. We bounced here, we bounced here, we bounced here, we bounced here. We broke through this level. We came back up to retest it right about here. Twice we did it. So one, two, and then we broke further down. And then we came back up to retest it again right here. So that is how important this level is. After 18,070, you're looking at 17,990. You could say 18,000 as your psych level, but me personally, I think 17,990 is pretty safe if you are looking for more downside. Now, if we just so happen to break below here, okay, if we just so happen to break below 17,990, again, very significant area here, very significant, right? We're very illiquid here. So the drop will come fast. And I don't think it's going to happen tomorrow. I think it could happen on Tuesday. And that's not me saying I'm bearish Tuesday because I don't know right now. But it will be very illiquid. It will be a very fast move down. And the thing that will cause that move is obviously news. So if we break below 17,990 and get in this area, I imagine the drop is going to be pretty fast. Now, if you think I'm making things up, look what happened here. Where's it at? So, look what happened here. Very illiquid area, okay? Not too much structure going on here or anything like this. Very illiquid area. And when we broke through 17,990 or 18,000, we started to move up pretty smoothly once we got around this area. So if you look here, we moved up very smoothly. But then once we got to where these guys are, I tell you guys all the time, wicks tell you where sellers and buyers are. And as you guys can see, there's a lot of turbulence here, a lot of turbulence in this area, all right here. Okay, so hopefully you get the idea, right? A lot of turbulence in this area right here. So it makes sense that we had a hard time Friday breaking above 18,350. Why? Because that's where all the turbulence is. That's where all the structure is around this area. So once we got out this liquid area right here, all right here, this huge candle right here, once we got through it, we started to hit these guys in this area here. So very, very tough area. Okay, so we need news to break through this area, or at least I imagine we need news in order to break higher, at least above 18,350. I would say 18,360 to be safe. All right, so hopefully that makes sense. Hopefully you guys get the significance of this level at around 18,070 and 17,990. Very significant area. Mark this on your charts on the Nasdaq. ES. So ES, I told you guys in the last video that we are at a weekly supply and demand zone. So far, we rejected, and right now we are pretty much at the top of this bear flag. If you don't believe it's a bear flag, what do bear flags do? They create higher lows and higher highs consistently, and then they have a flagpole. All right. If you don't know what a flagpole is, well, I mean, you pretty much can relate it to real life. It's just a pretty much downwards, a straight downwards movement leading into the flag. All right. So hopefully that makes sense. Feel free to look the pattern up. I probably should have it up myself, but feel free to look the pattern up and you'll understand what I'm saying here. But as far as the ES goes, as you guys can see, we're kind of breaking, well, we did break above this bear flag here. And what do I tell you guys about patterns? All right. What do I tell you guys about patterns as far as rolling over? Right now, the ES looks like it's rolling over. Now, we're not completely there yet, but if we just so happen to break back in here inside this bear flag, and we break back in here, and maybe we retest, chances are we're going to head lower. All right, it's happened all the time. It happens all the time where we break out of a pattern, it rolls over, and then you see huge downside. I've shown this example so many times. I've shown it on Tesla. It just happens so frequently. So if we just so happen to break lower inside this area, there's a good chance we could see more downside. But as far as your key levels on the ES, if we just so happen to break back in here, because right now we are rolling over, it looks like the candle structures or the candles themselves are getting very weak here. I wouldn't take that too serious. We've been having low volume pretty much all week last week, but for now, that is something to keep in mind. So, just like we saw on the NASDAQ, all right, just like we saw on the NASDAQ. Well, first, let's talk about the key level here. So, your key level here is about not 18,000, I'm thinking about the NASDAQ. 51,066, 51,065 if you really want to be safe. You don't believe me? Check here. Look, we rejected here, we bounced here, we bounced here, we bounced here. We came here, we bounced here as well. We finally broke through it, and then we came back up, rejected here, broke through, kind of consolidated in this area, and then we broke even higher. And it's the same thing I was talking about as far as the Nasdaq. Look here, very illiquid area, and once we got in this area right over here, we started to go higher here. But it's the same thing as far as trying to break higher. Look here. I mean, same thing we saw on the Nasdaq. A lot of turbulence here. I know this arrow is like crazy, but a lot of turbulence in this area right here. Okay, right here. A lot of turbulence. So there's a lot of bears there. A lot of bears. And again, wicks tell you where sellers and buyers are. So sometimes you got to zoom out to see where the next, huge area, huge key level, most important key levels, so on and so forth. You just got to zoom out. I think that's one of the traders' main problems. They never zoom out. All right. So pay attention to how we react around this area. If we get back down here, you guys are probably tired of this arrow. But if we get back down here, then chances are, again, like I said on the NASDAQ, we're probably going to move fast. Your key level, again, 51,065, 51,066. After that, you're looking at a move towards 51,057, 51,055 if you really want to be safe. So we start breaking below here. Again, it's going to be fast. All right. I think it's going to be fast. I mean, just look how illiquid this area is. There's not much stopping us here. So we're going to drop pretty fast here. All right. So something to pay attention to. That is your key level as far as downside goes. All right. We break down here. Chances are we're heading all the way down to about 50,080. And 50,080 was a key level I was talking about in previous videos before we broke higher. So if we break down to 50,080, then or if we break below 50,080, then chances are this bear flag is going to play out and we could be looking at a huge move to the downside. All right, huge move. I also told you guys in the last video 5250. All right. 5250 we failed to hold above. We these guys right here, these bears right here, they pretty much held us back. We're going to need news to break above. We're going to need news to break back in here in general. All right. So something to look out for as far as Tuesday. All right. We break back in here, we break back above 52. I would say 5265 if you really want to be safe. Then there's a good chance we could be looking at a move towards 53,020, 53,024, I would say, in order to feel safe and comfortable, which is pretty much our previous highs. So, something to look out for right now. So far, there's not much telling. I mean, we can just consolidate in this area before a real move comes in. Heading into tomorrow, again, Mondays are pretty boring majority of the time, but it's also important to note that usually when we have huge news days, the market tends to run into those days. So I will wait 30 minutes until open before deciding on any major trades or any major decisions. Or, you can sit on cash. I think that's probably the best decision as far as heading into Tuesday. Now, will I follow that decision? I don't know, but that is the best decision if you just so happen to decide. If you just so happen to decide to do that, all right. So that is what you're looking for as far as the ES. All right. Let's look at the triple Qs. So triple Q is essentially the Nasdaq. We drawn this pattern now, and as you guys can see, I know a lot of people don't believe in patterns, but hey, look here, rejected, 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 rejected. I mean, it speaks for itself. All right, you don't have to believe it, but look, it's clearly following something here. And right now, we're mounted on the triple Qs. We're mounted right above it, literally just sitting on top of it. Pause. We're just mounted here. Okay, so clearly we're waiting on something. All right, I don't know if we're waiting on news or maybe something pops up tomorrow. Whatever the case may be, clearly we're waiting on something. We're either gonna break back into this area, and then your next level key level is 439, which is around where these guys are right here. You break below 439, you can get pretty illiquid. Okay, just like we saw on the Nasdaq, you can start heading as low. I would say 437 is next. 439, 437. Then you start getting the liquid. You could head really. You could probably get to 433 area pretty fast after 437 or 435. Okay, if you can count 435 as your psych level, but again, really a liquid. Just like I showed you guys as far as the Nasdaq and the ES. I mean, they're all essentially the same, right? Very illiquid area. You're looking at the same exact thing. So we get back in this area around 433, things can move pretty fast here. All right, we break back, we roll back into this bear flag right here, things can move pretty fast. Your major level you want to look out for is 433, 432.5. Okay. You break below 432.5, you are dropping. Okay. I have no doubt in my mind that we're going to drop fast. Okay. Again, break below 432.5. Now, when I say break, you typically I wait like 30 minutes to confirm the break. I would like to see a retest and then a rejection off the area. So for example, you want to see something like this. Just say we broke below 432.5. You want to see some type of breakdown, retest, maybe we head towards 429 area and then break further. And then you probably enter around this area, or I'll probably enter around this area and then break further down. Okay. And we start filling those gaps to the downside. Okay. So that is what you're looking out for as far as the triple Qs to the downside. 439, 437, 435 psych level, 432.5, 433 is your major area to look out for. You break below that, things are going to move fast. You don't believe me how important this level is? Look what happened. We bounced here, bounced, broke through, rejected, rejected, broke through again. So this is a very tough area, and every time we broke through it, as you guys can see, we moved fast. I mean, we broke when we broke below it. Look what happened. We broke above it. Look what happened. I mean, so again, that's why I say very liquid area. Things are probably going to move fast. We break below it. As far as upside goes, 445. 445, you break above 445, you're looking at a move towards 447, and then you can go as high as 450. Do I think we can start heading towards new highs? Really tough to say right now. I personally don't think so, but given what how much news and just how big Tuesday is, it's very much possible. So I mean, I'm not gonna completely take it off the table. But for me right now, I'm pretty much playing it cautious. I'm on the neutral side right now, but that's what I'm looking at as far as the triple Qs. Sorry, I was kind of rambling there, but Spy, Spy, as you guys see it. I mean, now, I will say we are, sitting above a key level here. Okay, so there's really no need to truly panic. But as you guys can see, bounced here, bounced here, bounced here. Tried to break through, it was a false breakdown, and then we started doing all types of weird stuff. But rejected here, rejected, rejected here. I would say this is an important area because of how much we just fail to hold any direction around this area. I mean, you can call this. I mean, you can call this something, but to me, this just looks like consolidation in reality. And then we broke down. We tried to get back above. Bears stepped in again, rejected. I mean, we just kept rejecting this area. Okay, hopefully you guys get the point. Even right here, rejected this area, broke through, and right now we're just pretty much mounted on top of this area at around 520. I would say 519 to be safe. You break back below 518, I think the market is pretty much done at that point. You break below 518, you're looking at a move towards 515 and then 513. Okay, so mark those levels. I don't make this stuff up. As you guys can see here, we started here, rejected here, and then we rejected at the top of this rising wedge again. And right now we're just sitting, we're mounted on top of this key level at around 520, 519 range. So keep that in mind when you are trading or if you're looking to trade tomorrow. It's not the cleanest of levels, but as you guys can see, we've pretty much been trying to take it serious, I guess. But just keep this on your radar, plain and simple. All right. Um, Spy, triple Qs, NQ. Okay, so let's look at the VIX. So in my last video, I told you guys your key level at the VIX or your key levels on the VIX is 12.6 and 12.4. Right now we're at 12.56. Again, I'll show you guys again. We bounced here, bounced here, bounced here. We even bounced here, and we broke below 12.6. So your next key level on the VIX is 12.4. I don't think we're going to go lower. I mean, we could tease and act like we're going to go lower. Maybe there's like a false breakdown. But me personally, I don't think we can go any lower. Okay, maybe we just fake it out and then we start heading towards 16. I told you guys last video that I think the VIX is going to want to head towards 16 once it gets out of this area. So I would look for a break back above 13.10 and a hold on the VIX. People say you can't plot the VIX. I have no issues plotting the VIX. I don't know where that came from, but I mean, I don't know, maybe to each his own. But 16, we break back out of this area. We're looking at a move towards 16 on the VIX. Um, is it possible to go higher? Absolutely. But right now, I'm just looking at a target of 16. In our Discord, the bot did alert like a few times actually. A 16 call for April. I mean, not April, May 22nd. So something to pay attention to. I believe something's coming. I do believe a drop or a big drop is coming. It doesn't have to happen this week. Maybe the following week. I mean, we do have 2 weeks where there is 2 weeks for that alert to play out, so we'll see. But 12.4, all right? 12.4 is your key level. I told you guys in the last video, really pay attention to what the VIX does. Really, the VIX will tell you everything you need to know on what the market is going to do. Right? I mean, mark this on your charts. Mark this on your charts. It's super clean. Very clean. Bounce, 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 bounce. I mean, it's super clean area. You can't miss this. All right. It's clear as day. All right. You mark this on your charts. You are golden, and you'll be prepared for what the market is going to do this week. SQs. If you don't know what the SQs are, or if you don't know what the VIX are, they just move in first of the market. So if the market goes up, they typically go down, and vice versa. So SQ, as you guys can see, I don't make this stuff up. I've had this pattern up for like 2 videos now. And as you see, we've been bouncing off this area, or we've been pretty much consolidating above this area. Why? Right here. Rejected, reject, reject, reject. So people, you don't have to like trend lines, but I mean, I'm showing you the proof here. I'm showing you it here. So mark this on your charts. Okay. Um, you can call, I would say this is a double bottom right here. Me personally, I think it's a double bottom. And what do I tell you guys all the time? If you've been following my video, if it looks like the pattern, assume that it is until proven otherwise. Okay. If you're not sure, assume that is the pattern until proven otherwise. All right. So if the SQs breaks back above 11, then that will confirm the neckline of this double bottom. I keep wanting to say double top, but that will confirm the neckline of this. So have this marked on your charts. Okay. As you guys can see, there are bears in this area at around the $11 mark on the SQs. But I personally think this is a double bottom right here. I think it's going to potentially play out. I don't see a reason why it wouldn't play out. I don't think we go lower, but if we just so happen to go lower on the SQs, you could start heading towards low 10 area. And the reason why I say that, about $10 and 20, $10 30 area. And the reason why I say that is if you zoom back, I mean right here, this guy actually, let me do this. Boom. So as you guys can see, we just keep rejecting this area. Reject, 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 and then here, you kind of had like false breakdowns, but you kept creating higher lows, and then you start to pretty much go higher on the SQs. But that's what I would be looking at. But for me, right now, mark this potential double bottom here. It could play out. All right, you'll be sitting good. Me personally, if it breaks above 11, if it breaks above 11, okay. Hopefully, you guys are starting to pay attention as far as when I mention these liquid areas, or you're starting to see them yourselves. Look right here, fast. I mean, 1 plus 1 equals 2, people. I showed you this on the ES. I showed you this on the NASDAQ. I showed you this on the SPY and triple Qs. And now, what do we know about SQs? It's inverse of the market. It does the opposite of the market. So, if this is in a liquid area and we break in here and we start to go high and we break above 11 and this double bottom confirms and plays out, we're moving fast. Okay? We're moving fast. There's no doubt in my mind. Okay, there's no doubt in my mind we're going to move fast. All right. So pay attention to that. And conveniently, we have news on Tuesday. Again, 1 plus 1 equals 2. Don't make this harder than what it needs to be. We're going to move fast. There's nothing really here holding us back. Nothing really here. Okay. So something to pay attention to as far as the SQs. I think I pretty much went over my time. So hopefully you guys got something out of this. Hopefully it all makes sense. As far as the Fed Chairman Powell news, one thing I want you guys to know historically, when before Chairman, the initial move before Chairman Powell speaks is the wrong move. Okay, so if we open up bullish tomorrow, that might be the wrong move. Okay, we've seen it last time when Chairman Powell speak. The last time he spoke, the market started to rally to the upside. And then what happened after he was done? It started to sell off. The initial move is usually the wrong move when Chairman Powell speaks. So if we open green, that might be the wrong move. If we open red, that might be the wrong move. Okay, so pay attention to that. Really, really pay attention to that. It's not 100% of the time, but majority of the time, more likely than not, that is what happens when Chairman Powell speaks. All right, so that's really all I have for this video. Hopefully, you guys got something out of it. Discord link is in the description below. We do crypto, we do stocks, we do forex. I'm going to start going over crypto soon. Investing into crypto. So pay attention to when I start posting those videos. And if you have questions or if you agree or even disagree with anything I say, feel free to comment below. Maybe I missed something. And until the next video, traders, have a good one.